Group, group.
Ding dong. Hello?
سبحان خالق الإصباح.
Yes, that's right, Infidels. Special transmission, HMG 420 style. So light up your marijuanas, Infidels. It's time to burn one down as we're going to break it all down here with Bulletproof, Blake Troop, and the High Rollers 420 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Spectacular from Vegas, sponsored by HorseshoeGenetics.com. Hamin Media Group. It's time to go. YOLO, Infidels. Yeah, man, we're back. Happy holidays. And hopefully you guys are burning one down, sharing the joy. And I was glad to get this request from my man Bulletproof. Blake Troop is in the house. We're going to take a look at his latest victory here and talk all about what he's got coming up in the last 2 years of his journey. He's just been awesome. Troop, what's going on, brother? Good to see you this morning.
Doing good. So as you mentioned, I asked you to come on because we did a little collab this past weekend. Blake Bulletproof Troop, known for dropping warheads on people's foreheads, but this past weekend, I wasn't dropping warheads on foreheads. I rolled up a black belt and I smoked his ass at High Rollers BJJ 14 in Las Vegas, a pay-per-view event. And for those of you who are familiar with me, I am a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, catch wrestler, and I went in there against a tough competitive black belt, and I took him to school, baby. Y'all are going to see a replay and a little breakdown, go more into specifics there, but I went in representing Rob Van Dam's RVD CBD company, walked out to the cage by the whole motherfucking show, RVD himself, little RVD on commentary. It was a fun time, and I'm interested in getting to the action, but I was out there representing Horseshoe Genetics, Ben Hamin's genetic company, baby. We went in there, we're laying people out. I don't know what's going to give you a nap faster, a chokehold from Bulletproof Troop or a puff from some Horseshoe Genetics. Bang, bang.
I'll take the puff give on that one instead of the choke out. But yeah, I mean, what an awesome rub, obviously, from legendary wrestler, Mr. Monday Night, Mr. Pay-Per-View, RVD himself, man, promoting his new RVD CBD line. I was checking out the website. I really am excited to possibly link up with him for the new Marijuana's podcast and help just promote, you know, that crossover audience, absolutely, of what brings people together across all borders, weed and wrestling. It doesn't matter what country you're in. Everyone's gonna kick back and enjoy it together, man. And to see you get walked out by such a legendary performer and represent his brand in Vegas, which is, you know, obviously Sin City, the capital of weed right now, and adult good times, man. I was really happy to see how much of a shine and rub that gave you, dude. And he killed it with another huge name, Stephan Bonner from The Ultimate Fighter, obviously one of the most legendary UFC fights of all time, in the finish of that, the first season with Forrest Griffin, and great on the mic, and adds all the credibility and fun of this. Was a different, as we'll get to it, a very different feel. We've got an octagon, we've got a tight, you know, kind of indie crowd, great production. The guy who was doing the announcing, I'm sure you can tell me more about him. He did a great job in ring as far as that goes. And also interesting rules here, as we'll see in the match, where it's really, they want to win by submission. This is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu experience, right? It's different than an Ultimate Fight. You're not throwing strikes.
Right, so I'll talk a little bit about the event basics, including the rule sets and so forth. So this is called High Rollers BJJ, and first let's get into the weed. It's 420, cannabis-infused jiu-jitsu event, and what exactly does that mean? Well, it means that you are encouraged to smoke a joint with your opponent before and ideally after your match as well. I didn't end up smoking with my opponent, but we were both smoking a whole bunch before and after. And so this is the part that I competed on, was like the big event at the end. They had a tournament all day for each of the different divisions, where there's like a white belt, blue belt, purple belt, so forth. And the winner of each division gets a pound of weed. Yes, you heard me right, a pound of weed.
Wow.
So the finalists were on the part of the show that we were on. So now let me get into the rule sets. I was with the first match after I think the tournament ended. So now the rule sets, it's submission only. Not that you have to submit the guy. There's a sudden death overtime, which my match went to, as we'll see. But they are looking for submission. So it doesn't matter if you're passing, Dom. They want finishes. And so my match was a 6-minute round because it was a short notice fight. Typically they go up to about 10 minutes. And it's just submission only. Anything you can do to make the guy tap out, obviously without strikes. And it's inside of a cage, so now the cage can be used as a weapon, as you'll see me utilizing the cage to control my opponent, which is significantly different than a lot of the other professional grappling that we see in an open mat where there's no walls.
Right.
And I believe this has much more of a mixed martial arts transfer over because of the cage and the takedown and work against the walls. So again, there's a 6 to 10 minute period. It's a regulation time, submission only. When that ends, whoever the referee feels like was more dominant gets to choose if they want to be on their opponent's back offensively or if they want their opponent on their back defensively. There's a 1 minute period then that this person starts on the back.
Is that kind of like restarting in referee position in amateur wrestling, like where you go, are you down or up? Is that a norm in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
So not particularly, but in submission-only events, when you don't get a submission of regulation, now we need to put a guy in a very dangerous spot. So it's almost more dangerous than just top or bottom. But it is
can you work out of it? Can you work out of it? Yes,
but we're putting him in probably the most controlled and dangerous position. The guy's got both hooks in on your back with one arm up around your neck already. So you're like in a relatively bad spot. So there's a minute to work from there. If you get a submission, the other guy gets to go on your back now. And if he gets a faster submission, then he'll still win, even if you've submitted him already.
Okay.
So it goes, and let's say nothing happens in that minute, then you switch. No matter what, the other guy gets his turn. So if you start offense, you get the finish, you still need to play defense. He still gets his turn for overtime. If there's no submission on either of those, it goes to sudden death, which is just whoever scores the first point, which happens sometimes in submission only when you got two guys that are good, man. It's hard to put tough black belts away sometimes, as you're going to see in my match. Even if you're smashing and trying to rip it and take it, you can't always make it work, but you can try your hardest.
I think that's awesome. I didn't know you guys were smizzing beforehand. I knew it was a big, obviously, cannabis culture event there, but that's interesting to me too, because the cannabis athlete, where we've all had to kayfabe for so long, is the stigma is going away. Even WWE, after the Chris Benoit tragedy, putting in very strict rules for anybody to get fined for any cannabis, anything, have now dropped that, really with New York State. And I even think to Michael Phelps, like, people want to talk shit. This guy's doing bong rips, won 16 gold medals. So shut the fuck up and stop trying to act like some Nancy Reagan stuff is actually going to affect us from some DARE program 30 years mentality, man. And the recovery after you're ripping and tearing on your body or somebody else's is, I mean, it's huge, man. Like, and it's the difference in the strains you smoke and using it medicinally to be able to go to sleep at night when your body's in pain. I think that's awesome. Obviously, there's some tongue-in-cheek, wink, Cheech and Chong in there a little bit, but
yeah,
who gives a fuck? That's what the culture was. We got to play to it. You know what I mean? We're not to the Starbucks level yet. So I think that's awesome before and after to be able to make peace and then go out there, do your thing and compete at your highest level, pun intended, and come back and sit down again and go, good job, brother, either way. So, and RVD kind of towed that line in pro wrestling for decades by himself, where he was the butt of a Jerry Lawler joke or whatever, or they even do it with Riddle with the wink, nudge. Dude, I'd love to see Riddle come out, and Orton too. Orton sent me to get him an ounce of weed back when I was in OVW. So, like, everyone's been kayfabing for the longest, and let them come out and smoke one up, then, you know what I mean? And maybe it's baby faces up at the end, puff, give, and they put over fucking Street Profits in some way that way. But I think that is a great optic for the revision of the stigma of marijuana in sports, because it's always been there. NFL, NBA, it doesn't matter. Why fine them? Why kayfabe? And here we're putting it in the forefront. I think that's badass, bro.
So I think a big thing with what you're saying with like recovery and all that stuff, we're just starting to understand some of the stuff that CBD does. And that's just one of many cannabinoids in the marijuana.
RVD, CBD. That's what we're really
That's right, but with the different cannabinoids like CBN, CBG, there's a lot of different cannabinoids that we're starting to find out have other non-psychoactive effects, like for whether it's anxiety or to stimulate appetite and things like that we're barely even able to understand that, because things have been so limited so long on a federal level preventing the research and stuff. And now that a lot of that's opening up, I think we'll start being able to find out some of the science behind our anecdotal stuff. Like, man, I definitely feel like I recover better when I'm smoking weed, using my CBD products and so forth. I can't prove it right now, but it doesn't seem like research is that far away with how things are going throughout the country in terms of legality of weed and stuff. So I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, me too, man. I think it's great. You know, my favorite part, not aside from your match and seeing you shine, was when I tuned in, because I didn't know you were on till what time, but the first 10 minutes was a hard cam shot, and all 4 ring girls with their thongs on were facing on the other side of the ring taking pictures. So it was just 10 minutes of staring at some hot Vegas chicks' butts to kick things off, man. So if you're not going to lock the audience, if you want the audience to stay, open the show with 10 minutes of ass, bro. I think that's the way to go. So I pop big for that. Oh shit, dude. But one other thing, I know we've laid out the rules here. I just wanted to say, you know, the journey that you've had in the last 2 to 3 years of is a really, what I say, chop wood, carry water mentality. We've seen you on Control Your Narrative with EC3 and Braun. We've seen you at High Rollers. We've seen you on Hollywood working out there as well with Aaron the Idol Stevens, Marquez, like a lot of big names in this industry. And you're obviously a blue chip athlete and property. And when people see that, but you're coming from a martial arts, mixed martial arts world and in the world of pro wrestling. And now you're with Team Death Proof, which I loved hearing our boy Chris Silvio's name getting dropped there. Obviously, my man from OVW to Light the Fuse, and now Team Death Proof Dojo in Florida, an upper level finishing academy for pro wrestlers. And that journey, you are one thing you're not afraid of, doing the work to get there. So if you want to talk about that, and after this, we'll talk about where you're going after we get done with the match itself, man. But
yeah,
the last 2 years, you've really done everything and more travel wise, putting in the miles to learn the craft that it takes to become a great performer in this.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really feel like I have tried to take every step I could to be as prepared as possible before getting inside of the ring, which led me to moving to Florida, which I'll get into in a second. But, you know, at first I was kind of trying to dabble in both pro wrestling and fighting. And once the pandemic hit, I've really decided to go full board into the pro wrestling. And I created a plan for I don't just wing. Like, I wing a handful of things in my life, but one thing I don't wing is my long-term plans. Then I figured out exactly what I wanted to do. I found what I felt like was the right coach for me, and Chris Silvio, Death Proof Dojo, which you were just talking about, which I still train at today. And I actually moved to Florida to train with Chris after doing online stuff with him for like 6 or 7 months. I realized that was the right place for me. There's a lot of places you can learn to do the pro wrestling fundamentals and all that. Chris has taught me that, along with how does Bulletproof Troop pro wrestle. So I can come in and be my own artist. It's not just learning how the words. It's how do I put those together into a beautiful story or a poem. Like, we all know the same words. How are you going to write poetry? And showing me how to write poetry for who I am, and it's something that represents me and what I'm trying to bring to the cage or ring or whatever it may be. And so Chris was a big factor in a lot of my success. I'm definitely not afraid of doing the work. As a competitive athlete, I've realized that there's no fucking shortcuts. You know, there's just an ability to do more work or more efficient work that's going to get me to where I'm trying to go to faster, as opposed to, because not all movement equates to progress. This is why I'm big on setting plans, figuring out goals, and trying to get to a certain location, because not all movement equates to progress. You could jump in a pool and be splashing around crazy, expending a ton of energy, and you're no closer to the other end of the pool.
Right.
You know, so being able to efficiently, and not only that, but if you don't know where the fuck you're going, how much time do you waste to go out? I need to go to the other end of the pool.
Well, you're humbling yourselves at the feet of masters of this too, and learning. It's very Pai Mei, Kill Bill, like, and doing it at multiple sites. You know what I mean, as well.
Absolutely. So that was something that I really learned in my mixed martial arts career, where mixed martial arts, there's just so much depth to so many different styles and theories of combat technique and application and so forth, that you can't really learn it all from one person. And then mindset and all, you can learn a good amount of it from certain people, but I have an extremely high level wrestling coach, extremely high level grappling coach, extremely high level striking coach, who's also strengthening it. Like, you know, I have a mental coach where I see a sports psychologist type person. So like, I've got a team of people. I got a wrestling coach I talk to, and then a lot of other people where I go and try and find experts in the fields and try and learn as much as I can from those people, because they're going to teach you more than any book or anything else like that. And when they see that people are willing to work hard and passionate, I say passionately put your everything into stuff, because you can come in and show up and work hard, but are you passionately putting your everything into it? And you can even be putting everything into it, but the passion, in my opinion, is the spice of entertainment, the spice of life, the spice of all of it. You know, you can tell them.
I love where you're at with that, because I just saw the Triple H said that, you know, NCAA athletes are easier to train because they don't come in with than indie guys. They don't come in with a bunch of preconceived notions and that you have to undo. That may be true, but if you don't have the passion for this business, you're never truly going to be a top level success for it. And that's what you've got above all is obviously the physical. You're genetically, you're put together like, a super soldier that they'd love to clone. So, but the chat room's blowing up right now. Our own The Vet Opinion Haver says to say what's up. And Colin Weislong, producer of the A Show's in there saying you live right down the street from April Hunter. Maybe we'll get some crossover with April Hunter and you on the A Show. That'd be awesome, man. But shout out to you guys checking us out. And just before we'll do one more before we kick this off, you had reached out to me just to say, brother, I appreciate the shine that you've given me and the community and the knowledge. And can I put the Hamin Media Group logo on my tights out here? And I was just like ecstatic with that, but I wasn't sure if you were talking about my new company, horseshoegenetics.com, where the best quality cannabis seeds, one from farm to table, literally, or farm to your farm, with 40 new strains about to be released. And you said, give me them both, man. And my new business partners, for local guys trying to accomplish the dream, to see their stuff in Vegas on TV at such a rapid rate, not only does good business for me, but it just drives them to become the successes they want. So I really want to say thank you for doing that. That was really humbling. And that's what a true man does, to pay something forward in an industry where a lot of people are out for themselves. That really meant a lot to me and my partners, dude. I wanted to highlight that.
You're welcome, my man. Like I said, when I hit you up, you guys put me in a great position by giving me a platform to have Cage Theory podcast on, which I really attribute a lot of my ability to talking to a microphone in front of a camera. I spent hours and hours and hours interviewing people or talking about things and trying to stay on a topic, where I feel like that has helped get me to the point where I am today. And so when I saw an opportunity that I felt like could give back, I hit you up. You're like, both, and I was like, I got two, and I was like, just shoot them both to me, bro. I'll make it work. I'm happy that I was able to do something to help give back. I think thank yous and giving back and appreciation and all that shit goes such a long way, and it's, I think, a big reason why a lot of people don't do things for people, because like it's even like hold the door and people walk by and you're like,
yeah, they don't give a fuck, man.
And you're just like, but But so, I mean, I appreciate doing things for people, and I appreciate when people have done things for me. And I think it goes, a thank you is nice, but like hey, bro, let me scratch your back too on some shit is nicer. Like it's fucking appreciated. So I really appreciate what you guys have done for me, because I wouldn't be sitting here able to talk into a microphone the way that I currently do, which I think is probably my strongest area at this point in my career. And I got a lot of great shit going on besides that already.
It got Colby coming to the main event. It can do the same thing for you, my man. There's no doubt about it, dude. And I've lived by the principle, the best will always find each other. And here we are, like that. And we're about to find out who the best is right here, you guys, as we're going to break it down. Here comes the match. We got some great stuff.
Hey, let me give a quick rewind on this match. So I took this match on 7 days notice. I got hit up the week before, and they're like, hey, Rob's fighter fell off. Can you jump on, represent CBD in a submission-only match against a black belt? And I was like, yeah, fuck it. Let's do it. Signed up 7 days later. So I drove to Miami on Thursday. I cornered a girl for pillow fighting on Friday night. Got up at 6 a.m. in Miami, flew to Vegas, and then competed at 10 p.m. in Vegas, and raged with Wiz Khalifa until 6 in the morning after the bros. It was a wild Vegas trip.
It's all, as Rip Rogers would say, dude, that it's the journey that you're going to remember 30 years from now, and not the bumps or the belts. It's that stuff. Absolutely. That you made it happen, man. Anything else before I hit play here, Pat?
Oh yeah. So one other quick thing. So you're going to see my opponent comes out and does a haka, which is like the Pacific Islander War Dance. And so, but before this, so there's a match before, and then there's like a 5-minute smoke break between each match, where the girls walk around. And so we're already like warmed up, like about to walk out, and he's over on one side of the mat, and I'm kind of over on the other side of the wall. And he's like doing his hot, and I got my headphones on, so I'm kind of in my own zone, doing my thing. And I can hear him like doing his hockey and screaming, but I'm like doing my own shit. Like it's, and I look up, and this motherfucker is staring at me, doing his shit. And I'm like, this motherfucker, like pop my headphones off. Now I'm like bouncing, staring at this dude, like, really, motherfucker? Like, oh, you trying to like intimidate? Like, this is what we're doing, right? Like, I motherfucker, like, and he's like loud as fuck, like loud as fuck. And it's like quiet in there because nothing else is going on. It's a smoke break. So I lean over to Rob, and I'm like, and he's like, ah! And I was like, I'm gonna make that motherfucker make the same sound when I rip his fucking arm off in a few minutes. So I start getting like a little heated, like motherfucker, like you mad? Like, bro, I'm about to fuck you up right now. Like, so then it plays, and you can see. So then he goes in, and so you can feel the tension between him and I when I get up in his face and before the match, and like we're in each other's face. And I take my chain off because I don't know if we're about to like maybe fight right now. Because like motherfucker, like, oh, you're strong, like motherfucker. All right.
Yeah.
You know, like the tension was real.
The thing is, they might have ribbed himself because those hakas take a lot of energy. And I'd be like, yeah, bro, blow yourself up for 2 minutes before. Can I see that again? You want to run that back one more time? Let him, make it that much easier. Sure. And that's adrenaline that he's getting hyped up, but he's using that when he should be using it at other times possibly. So awesome, man. Well, let's get this thing kicked off, you guys. It's High Rollers 14, the 420 special. Here, Blake Troop, Hacker Hamin.
So great production value where they had like the full-on cage.
Yep.
These always make me feel like a video game character when I see this. I always get hyped when I see this.
Right out of the video game, right? It's great.
Ladies and gentlemen, prepared to be entertained. Make some noise for this participant entering the ring first, Tiki Aquino.
You can't appreciate how loud this dude's screaming in this video. He was at the top of his lungs, like, and that's when I realized he was staring at me, screaming, and like everyone's probably looking at him, and I'm just like,
to the cage.
Not even thinking about it.
Let me see if I can get some more sound on it. Oh, come on, RVD, THC, RVD, CBD. You guys check out the website, Mr. Monday Night, Rob Van Dam, bringing our guy down in the ring. Look at this, awesome. Big bastard's even got a duck under the fucking 6-footer. Look at that.
Legit shoot 6'4", 245.
Yeah.
It's shoot. It ain't a gimmick. But
oh no, we can see it. We can see it.
Here, before I got close, I took my shit off. And none of this is planned. He does that, and I'm just like, lights out, motherfucker. Like, he's like, yeah, my guy, motherfucker. Like, bang, bang. It's about to go down. Like, all right. I'm fucking ready, bro. Like, I ain't scared of your strong. Like, fuck all that.
I love that it's a shoot because this could be called out as the work part, but it's not. It's probably the most shoot part of it.
I knew he was going to do a haka. I knew that. I didn't know him screaming at me before. And I didn't mind him coming out. When he got him, I pulled my chain off because I didn't know what the fuck was going to happen.
Right. You might get slocked right here.
Or pulled. Like, bro, I think it fucked my neck up. Like,
Rob looks great. Look at Rob. Holy shit.
Damn!
Yeah.
Make some noise for Bulletproof! True!
RVD, baby.
And his opponent, 75 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in at 190 pounds, representing Hit 'em Up Fight Team, presenting Tiki Aquino!
You see what I mean? Like, staring at
I like this guy though. He's a good heel though, like this dude, right? Like he's ready to go, man. He's got the bloodline. He's no joke. He's a black belt.
Right, and so I'm just like, I'm about to just fuck this dude up, like, because I'm like low key, like, I'm about to fuck you up, bro.
He's sweating that you got 30 pounds on him, and 6 inches.
Yeah, immediately fucking dig the underhook, put him against the cage, turn and put him on his back. He did a good job here. Turn, switch, suck the hips out. He fights to his side, peel the hand.
Go for the takedown.
Yeah, right here he's posted on that arm. You got him.
Turn pro wrestler.
Whoop, thank you.
And now I know I'm gonna cook this motherfucker against the cage. He gets his guard back. I was like, all right, I'm gonna just post up, jam his head, neck in like this. I call it the unicorn horn. Good head position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Represent RVD.
Like if you look, jamming the neck and head into his.
Trained pro wrestling by Chris Silvio and Matt Seidel, 2 guys you know really well.
Yeah, great guys.
And by the way, it's RVD CBD. That's what he's representing. Appreciate that. Awesome to be part of this. And
I didn't even get to introduce you. I got RVD color commentating me for this one.
I jumped in here. I don't expect this match to last very long.
A little north-south here.
I don't know, man.
So I'm looking for the double wrist lock here. I was trying to get it. I couldn't get the arm out. So I just kept passing. Once I secured this, I was like, all right, now I'm going to start working for that arm again.
I'm just going to stop right there because that's something I wanted to talk about in there because they even put it over on commentary in a minute. So you're looking for a double wrist lock is kind of what your go-to where you feel like you can nail that almost anywhere on anybody, front, back, or side. And, known as the Kimura from UFC,
right.
As they put it over. But you're rebranding it double wrist lock wrestling style, and that's your stuff. You want to talk about that quick?
So I am a catch wrestler. I told the commentators, that was the other guy on there, Stephen Bonner, UFC Hall of Famer, who also pro wrestles a little bit now. And so I told him, because the mixed martial arts community, it's really known as the Kimura, but catch wrestling's been around for much, much longer, and I consider myself a catch wrestler. And the big story I was trying to have told in this match, which I told in the interviews, but the commentator didn't quite understand, I was like, catch wrestler versus Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I'm a purple belt in Jiu-Jitsu going against a black belt, but I'm a catch wrestler. And my catch wrestling dominant style, I'm going to be able to pressure pass on this motherfucker, and I'm going to double wrist lock him and take his arm home, is what I told him ahead of time. You don't get the catch wrestling versus BJJ, which is like double wrist lock. Don't call it a Kimura. But that's my go-to, old school catch wrestling, and that's what I consider myself.
I think you can stand on that and rename New Japan moves or whatever into American and get heat with that. I love that. I love the fact that you're not selling for some bullshit, that it's really this. I like that shit.
Animal tactic. Yeah, that's not.
He's going for it. Look at hips in, puts the hip down on the hip there.
Right away,
yeah, so you can see I'm keeping my left knee or my left hip into his left hip so that he can't pass or anything.
Oh.
Good, but more importantly than that, RVD, how's his?
So right here, I look at the referee and I look at the clock and it says 8.5 minutes. I'm like, yo, 6-minute match. What the fuck? And I'm just like, are you serious? I was like, God damn it. A 6-minute match is now a 10-minute match.
Well, they corrected it. They just had the wrong clock up there. I popped for that too.
They didn't tell us that though. They just stopped it when I got on his back, and I was like,
double hooks in here. Look at boom. Oh, he no punches, but he gets a nasty little crossface. And what an asshole. I like that.
So this is my spot, bro. I either get the double wrist lock or they get their arm back. I mount them, I roll them, and I flatten them. And the thing is, here MMA, I would just start unloading on a dude. But
that was a little bit of a shot. Let's go back and see if this should have been a disqualification. Watch this crossface. He's got about 4 inches of air in it before he hits somebody. So here come the hooks. Pulls them out, pulls that. Boom! No, that was a cross.
Wow. It was a catch wrestling crossface.
Okay.
I'm a catch wrestler, not a jiu-jitsu guy. That was a striking jiu-jitsu. Catch wrestling, that's a crossface.
I call that just heel work. That's what I call that.
I was cooking the motherfucker, bro. I was trying to beat him down. You want to call that a heat or whatever? No, you got your shine with your haka, motherfucker. It's time to get put on the fucking stove.
Right. He was going for that half Nelson there. Switches into it. There's another little crossface.
Yeah, just grind, cover his mouth. She'll watch me cover his mouth to his nose and his mouth. which just sucks, bro. It's terrible.
How's your wind here? How are you feeling right here?
Yeah, he's new to pro wrestling.
All right. When I got up, though, I realized I was fucking tired because you watch me get up slowly in a second.
I watch you put your arms up on the cage getting back in. I go.
Oh, at the end, I was exhausted, bro. I was spent by the end. But to here, I'm trying to be calm because I know I'm in dominant position, but I am like, fuck. This guy's going to be harder to fucking tap than I thought.
Guy's an animal.
He moved down to Florida, Tampa, Florida, to train pro wrestling, pursue that career.
Nice, using the head
You
to
know
get
what it takes, Mr.
third
Bonner.
limb here.
Yeah.
Got a little Honda HMG
be
bat
in the
choke
50s
trying to
now?
go there. I'm not sure.
So I was trying to rack it and just fuck with his breathing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So here I got up a little slow, and I was like, fucking guy. And the crowd is the biggest pop of the whole match is him getting up right there.
I do it, but I've been going off the top rope.
He got ground
myself.
pretty hard there. That wasn't a
it's
fun
pretty
little
addictive.
session. And then right
And I
back
was
to
just-
it.
Yeah, dude.
And bro, this is all jamming head pressure, like smash his neck into the cage.
Wrestled in Ohio and then
A lot of
Toronto
traps with the
last
leg.
weekend.
So I went to pass, he grabbed my arm, and I used it to
line.
step through.
Going for
So
big
it's just like counter, recounter.
How
So it's
long?
very high level grappling. Like there you see pop, pop, pop.
That's
There's like a 3-move back and forth, 1, 2,
Right.
3.
And
On
he's
him.
trying to get in on your hips to push off here, but I think just your muscle mass and leverage and brute strength is too much for you can have all the skills in the world, you might be able to catch a choke, but when you're coming at you every angle trying to push limbs down, keep head control, keep the hips where they need to be, that's really what is the brilliance of watching this fight when I watched it back, man, as far as that.
So a big thing with the strategy of what I'll do, particularly when I get a guy here in this position where you see how he's on his side, what I'll do is I'll pop up and kind of tripod, and I'm trying to jam. So if he's here, it'd be in the right side of his neck, kind of down and into the wall. Because if he's here, I can kind of pin him into this. And once I pin his upper body and his shoulders, I know his hips are trapped. Now I start fighting for the pass. I block his head, and now I'm trying to pass legs around whichever way I can get it. Because
right.
I pinned his ass up here. Now I'm going to start trying to use that as a pivot point. Either I'm going around his legs or I'm throwing him around mine. Typically a combination of the two.
Okay.
So I can get him to react to one side or the other. Or if I can just pressure and I feel like I can start to inch through, I'll slowly inch through. But if I don't feel like I have it, I'll typically try one way. If that doesn't work, I go hard the other way. But so I'm always getting up and planting you'll see it when we pop back up. And I'll even when I lose it, I plant the guy back down, put my head, and then I go back to work. I think I do it right here.
Right. So head control on the chin and shoulder essential to set up everything else. I like that. Let's check it out.
All right, so we're back down on the ground with Troop on top. This is a interesting strategy to fight from the bottom.
So I'll probably plant my head into his neck right here.
Yeah, well, it looked like
trying to sweep out,
Tiki
bring that
really
arm
didn't
out,
have
get
a
him
choice
flat.
in that.
Exactly. He's trying to come up. I'm like, nah, motherfucker, you're not going anywhere.
Not too comfortable down there either.
Yeah, it's
And
rough.
he's trying to keep his legs, and I'm just press. And I'm intentionally not smashing because I want him to try. I want him to spend the energy, and then I smash him back down. Even though I'm just pushing him completely, he wants to chill.
So disappointing.
Now I'm ready to pass. Trap the upper shoulders,
And you've been
clear
doing
the
a
leg, work the leg through. But the shoulders, what's
Trying for a
fight around
trying to
with
get that head and arm
Yeah.
choke there,
Yeah,
trying to get
not
position for
something
that.
I'm,
Maybe then
looking to-
pass the
And
head.
pressure on the shoulder to pass the legs. If the choke's there, once I pass, I'll take it.
Right.
But that shoulder pressure is what kept his upper body trapped. Here's the double wrist lock where I come close.
Yes, sir.
Now I have my hands on it. And this is what I called for the whole fight was this double wrist lock. Don't call it a Kimura.
Yeah.
And I get this here, and I'm fucking starting to turn.
That's what I was. I seen you had the key lock on it and fucking.
And I was trying to rip it out, and so I spent everything I had here. And he was doing all the right things.
This is
He
about
was
as
trying to roll
close
that
right
way.
here. I mean, he scrambled, but you got it right in there.
So right here, I go to yank it as hard as I can, and I lose my grip, and I realize I have no more grip strength. So I try to drop there for a head scissor, and he rolled out because I did it. It was terrible head scissors because I've been doing too many pro wrestling head scissors,
Yeah.
and it totally showed him my head scissor right there. But as soon as he popped out, came up top position, and I just realized fucking time is about to be up, and I was like, I'm still gonna fucking stay heavy on this dude. Cover his mouth right here too. I was like, if we're going into overtime, motherfucker, you're gonna be fucking tired as shit.
But that was a good reverse to get out of that key lock and then go for a quick armbar to put you back on defense. This guy's a smart fighter from the bottom. You got to give him his due.
And incredible defense or submission defense. Because bro, that's my move. I couldn't land it. You know, given I hadn't been training as much to prepare for this match, but like still, the guy was a legit black belt.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And you can see that obviously outmatched size and power wise, but able to remain calm underneath that way and stay alive. Now we've just gone through the 6 minutes, even though the clock said other words that was going to be 10. So now we're going into what you talked about earlier, into a submission position where you're kind of having to show that you can either escape, or even if you get tapped out, then your opponent will get the same opportunity as well.
Right. So round 1 overtime is going to be I get a minute starting on his back. He gets a minute starting on my back. Both minutes have to happen. If I submit him in 30 seconds, let's say, he needs to submit me in 30 seconds or less to not lose. So, and let's say he submits me in 10, then he wins, even though I submitted him first in the first overtime. So this is overtime. There's only one round like this. And whatever happens, happens in the whole minute. I just get to start on his back, and then he gets to start on mine. We each get a turn no matter what.
I love
it.
Here
we go. First minute.
So interesting. Great rules.
Matches,
and so I chose offense to start because I prefer to go for finishes and look for the
users from home making some comments.
So here I
goes right for it.
And I pull it in and I lose my hands because I had no more grip strength. And I was like, fuck. And I was like, God damn it. Fuck. Why the fuck you just put it? And so now I'm kind of like, all right, well, I'm going to try and go for the arm because I think I have a better luck taking this arm. And I tried to kick around. It was lazy. It was super lazy though. That's like, I was tired. But I'm here and I'm like, fuck this. I'm not spending any time on the bottom. Open up, create a scramble.
Oof. I like that. Here, I want to show this ring awareness right here. Look at this. He's got him, pulls his head down, and then hook that leg from underneath. This is what we're talking about when we're saying catch wrestling. In order to get that there, talk to me about that when you're in that position and you still have the situational awareness to get that guy to move him to where you want to go.
So I don't, as a catch wrestler, I don't want to spend zero time on my back. However, there's times where you're going to find yourself potentially there and you might need to lock up a guard for a second, but you don't want to sit there. I got there, started breaking his posture down. When he rolled into me, I knew that I could take him over if I was able to keep this down and get a leg. Because of the pressure, because I don't want to stay here. And he knew he had to keep his pressure into me to keep a hold of me because I'm going to fucking walk my ass the fuck out of here or get the fuck out. And he kept the pressure. So I kept him down and I just took his momentum or his forward pressure and used it against him. It's not necessarily about muscle fucking the dude. It's about getting him to press into me and then I take the wall away.
Right. You use some momentum against him to get him into there. Got it.
So, and I had no grip strength left, so I couldn't keep the head for the roll and come up on top. So I lost it, but then I popped up the turtle. I'd rather be in turtle than fucking on my back, though. As a catch wrestler, I'm much more comfortable in a turtle guard position, even though he gets my back here. But as you can see, I get out of it relatively quickly. But I as a catch wrestler, am more comfortable in a turtle than in a guard position.
Love it. Let's check this out. And this was as pro wrestling as it gets of reverse out. You reverse out back and forth. Great stuff. And then I just think he knows that at this time he's so tired. There's no way you're going to move this big mountain of a son of a bitch.
So I look for the double wrist lock again right here. I reached over. He's got my arms wrapped up, but I'm looking for it. I'm looking to try and clear my leg right now and turn. If I can turn my head back
it's so close right there. And then time runs out.
I was digging. You know, like even though time's late, I'm exhausted. I know I don't have my grips. I'm looking for the finish because and like I'm fucking exhausted right now, bro. But you don't see it until the end of for another 90 seconds when I'm over, and then I'm like,
you ribbed yourself. You thought all that big muscle that looks good was going to do something.
It's a little guy that just gasses me.
Yeah.
But so here, I fucking pop it up and I clear the arm and I just couldn't hold it. I lose the arm and I was like, God damn it.
And this is really, aside from some reverse outs, about the only place where he had a chance at dominance. And, to hang that long, that's an interesting game plan, to be able to do it because he wasn't going to dominate you physically.
So right here, if you rewind like 5 seconds,
Sure.
so I know once I've popped up, I come around to the guard and I pop up, you'll see me look at the clock right about here and I go, Blake, you got 40 fucking seconds.
Gotta
Tap
go.
this motherfucker. Watch, you'll see me look at the clock, pop up, knee slide, dig, fight for it, fight for it. Watch, you'll see it right here.
There goes the
I might
look.
have just
Right there. Fuck this.
40 seconds, motherfucker. 40 seconds.
Boom.
Go
Drops
in
the
here
knee on
and
him.
put
More.
this motherfucker away. And I was
More-
like, bro, and I'm like sitting there. You have no time. Don't fuck around. Grab this shit. Pressure. Stay calm. Work. We're going to take this. Work. Fuck. Motherfucker. I was like,
Yeah, man.
pass. Fucking finish this motherfucker. And I'm like yelling at myself internally. And so I get to here and I'm like, fuck, I know I'm not. And so now I'm just resting heavy. I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to go knee on belly on you then.
Then he goes full heel and drops a knee into the sternum to say fuck you to finish it off.
Yeah, I wanted you to be tired. We had more overtime.
Yeah,
I knew I wasn't.
You'd be Hakaluki after that one. Holy
Popped up, dropped my knee on his chest. Fuck yeah. And so right
Okay.
here, so you can pause it right here. Now we're going into sudden death overtime. And sudden death, it's a part of what happens in submission-only events when nothing happens. There's no submissions in the regulation or in the overtime rounds. Certain shows have up to 3 overtime rounds. So now I was told it was going to be referee's decision. Then I showed up to the event and it's sudden death, which I'm cool with. I prefer sudden death because I know I'm going to get the takedown because I'm a catch wrestler, these jiu-jitsu guys. Like I know that's one of my other advantages over these guys. But so here I know it's sudden death. And I know I'm exhausted, and I know he's exhausted. But the thing is, I can feel him quitting and giving up. And when I start passing, and I'm like, I'm taking this shit, motherfucker. I can feel him kind of like, And when now, I don't want to say quitting or breaking, but not fighting to the death to not let me pass. You know, like. And so now we come out to here, and it's sudden death. And I already feel confident in my takedown ability and stuff. But I pop up, and you can see I'm like, get the fuck out of my way, ref. And the ref's like, back. And I'm like, step over a little. And he's like, step over a little more. Like, I'm like, get the fuck out of my way, referee. I am about to take this dude down so watch. If you play it here, you can see the ref like 3 times having like, bro, fucking back up a little.
Right, because you don't want to give you the advantage. Plus, everybody's blown up. We got hands on knees and hands on hips. My tongue would be hanging out to my waistline right here. So.
And mentally, I want this dude like, fuck, this dude's coming for me. I'm like, and bro, I'm exhausted too, bro. I can't even stand up. But I'm coming for your ass.
Here we go. Back the fuck up, says the ref. Respect me.
Scoot.
Boom. Shoots the single and sprawls. Comes through. Then back the other way.
Shit through. So I knew he knew I was shooting on his ass immediately because I know setup. But I was fine with that because I knew he was exhausted. He was going to sprawl and grab onto me. All I had to do is make sure I wasn't getting guillotined. Shoot in. He went to there. He wrapped. Boom. He sit through. And as soon as I felt him wrap, I knew I was going to hit that sit through on him because of the size differential. Rolled over, took top position. Taking home the W. RVD coming out to congratulate.
What a great feeling, man. What a great feeling, dude. And you know, that overtime's almost made for you as a catch wrestler because it's about first points, and a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt is waiting to get taken down and do his stuff on the mat. They're not shooting to get to that point. So really the rules working not in, cheaply, but to your style, definitely a bit of an advantage, but he almost had it in the reversal. And you did a great job getting back over to get those points for the win there. But I got to say, if this was wrestling, it was 80-20 domination. He never got a chance to impose his will on you. He stayed alive, but you were obviously the dominant favorite. If there was to go to the cards on this, it would have been a no-brainer.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I definitely think the rules are good for me, but I want to finish by submission. As an alpha male who's competed in combat sports for a long time, and I've been asked this a lot, like, what's the best type of win? Would you prefer a knockout or a submission? Me personally, I'd prefer a submission. And the reason being, I have a lot more knockouts than submissions, but the reason being, I'd rather break that motherfucker and have him quit. I give up. I don't want to play anymore. Then to turn his lights out, which is cool, but I broke you, motherfucker. Like, if I know I tapped the dude out and you gave up in like MMA fight, like, Now, I feel much better about that than a knockout win. Not that I don't feel great about a win one way or the other, but if I had to have a hierarchy, I'm tapping that motherfucker out.
Sure.
And me and him both know I tapped his ass out. Like in competition, it's different at the gym. I'm talking full-blown competition against like rival people, not training at your gym or things like that. I'm talking competition shit. So I'm always looking for the finish. And I think that's what the fans want to see. And it's a big thing that I push is guys fighting to look for the finish. And even there, I was fucking looking for the finish nonstop. But at the end, the finish ended up being a takedown. But 7 seconds into sudden death overtime, I fucking won that because I'm always looking for the finish and prefer the submission. But, stay cruising, locked, cocked, and ready to rock. You'll be seeing me back at another High Rollers event sometime soon, representing Team RVD CBD. So stay tuned, baby.
I love it. I love that Rob, he said, I'll take the mic and let you get some air back because they wanted you to cut the promo right away. And then Rob also goes into director mode and says, no, come over here and get my shit over rvdcbd.com, you guys. This is what it's all about, as well as Blake Troop and horseshoegenetics.com, man, and Hamin Media Group on the shorts. Just awesome stuff. Look at these characters. I love that they're in a niche, market of doing what they want to do in cannabis culture and leading the way and having fun with fight sports in Vegas and all that is just put it all in a blender, and what comes out of it is some really fun, unique, different styles that bring more martial arts to the mainstream, and it was great to see you get a shine from Mr. Pay-Per-View himself there, dude. That's a big up right there for sure.
Yeah, it was really cool coming out. And I've known Rob for years, actually, before I even got into wrestling, because he used to live in Los Angeles, and we had a mutual friend. And so I've actually known Rob for years before this. So I wasn't necessarily starstruck by getting the call, but it's dope to do something professional with somebody like that, who's I've looked up to, even though he's my friend. Fuck, I watched that motherfucker a lot growing up as a kid. Like, that was an influential person on my childhood. So, like, it's badass to have this full circle. We became friends, but now we've done some professional shit, and he's putting me over as a professional too, which is awesome. And I think it's funny that you noticed. I was like, Rob,
that's the worst
motherfucker for a second.
You're done right there. They're like, now you got to cut the promo. Well, that, bro, you cut it, and Rob can get over it.
Rob, you say he's like blah 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 blah. What he said, hands. I'm like, fuck, I got more shit to say. All right,
yeah.
Shout out to all my bulletproof troopers, the bulletproof troopers around the globe. Kind of tired.
No, it was great, man. I mean, people don't know. Most street fights go 30 seconds. To go a full 9 minutes, 8 minutes, 7 seconds is no small task for any athlete. And we've seen it in UFC, guys. I mean, you're obviously put together like a brick shit house and do all the work it takes to do that. But sometimes the guys who are the most jacked in UFC, those muscles eat up a lot of oxygen. They pump a lot of blood, and some guys can get hammered in the second round who you thought were going to be killers just based on that alone. So this was good back and forth, and telling it almost told a pro wrestling story with him being on the scramble reverse out, just evades getting tapped this time. But next time could be a different story. I got to say, I saw that High Rollers has a celebrity version coming out. Do you think me versus Al Bundy? How do you think about that in a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu face-off?
Al Bundy is a legitimate black belt in Jiu-Jitsu. Under the Gracies, and the OG Gracies, which is like mean Jiu-Jitsu, not just like regular, like this is like the old school dojo storming. Like a lot of that mean cross. So one of the people I've been training with a lot out here in Tampa is a guy named Rob Kahn, who's a Hoist Gracie black belt. And so the first time I trained, he's like, and anybody want to know how we're going to create an opening here? Pain compliance. We're going to
just go.
Yes. Nice. This is my kind of grappling, bro. Like, because that's like catch wrestling. Like pain compliance is like a massive component. And he's like showing this thing and digging it in. And I was like, can I come feel that? He's like, really? You want to come feel it? I was like, fuck yeah, I compete. Let me see what you're doing so I can do that to somebody else. Like, let me feel it.
Take that, Big Pet Pro.
Jams is like forearm under here, like lifts my jaw. Like, felt like my jaw was going to pop out. It's like, holy shit.
Well, all
Oh,
those
shit.
little pressure points, man, behind the jaw, under the ear, under your armpit, like people don't think about that. Back of your arm right here, like they're not really utilized in an asshole way that much where people should be getting little heel work in on them, you know?
This into here. There's a lot of me. I do a lot of face smashing, man, cover their nose and
Sure.
make people just hate life. And if you can get somebody to hate being under you, they start giving you shit like, "Oh, take my arm instead." Just stop it.
Yeah, those nerve endings, man. It doesn't take a big, massive knockout blow. You just got to make them a little uncomfortable to open up what you want for that double wrist lock, and then bing, bang, boom. So obviously, we got to work on grip strength. We got to, because we had them right there.
I know. So, like you were saying, my arms are ginormous right now because they told me to put on size for pro wrestling. I'm like 245. I'm jacked right now. But the thing is, like you were mentioning, sometimes when you add a lot of horsepower to the engine and the gas tank ain't growing with it, you know, one thing that was good for me though, like it was like, you know what, 8.5 minutes, or let's say about a little over 8 minutes, was I didn't have any weight cut for this, and I feel like I performed so much better without having weight cuts. Most of my career, actually every fight in my career, I never fought heavyweight MMA. My fight got canceled because of COVID. I've cut weight for every fight in my career, and I felt like anytime it went outside of the first round, it put severe handcuffs on my body's ability to perform. We've only seen me perform 3 times now without a weight cut. It's the Billy Robinson Classic, where I won this bad boy, and I took 2 gold medals home in Snake and Catch Wrestling. Won myself the wild card spot in Snake and Catch Wrestling's vacant heavyweight world title tournament. The second time was competing in that tournament, which I went all the way to the finals. I was pinned in the finals by Travis Reeve. And this is the 3rd time. And I feel like heavyweight Bulletproof Troop is a scary mother Hubbard. And I am also thinking about potentially doing a little bit more combat sports participation, potentially even bare knuckle next. That's
wow. Okay.
Thinking about it. We'll see, you know, let these hand grenades start flying, baby.
They get that's some serious lumps in there, but I don't doubt that you can give it as good as you can take it, man. And just awesome to see you branched out into so many things and given the respect to pro wrestling that I know you have for it, and training constantly with so many masters, I think is a bigger lesson to humble yourself and say, I don't know, but I'm going to put myself where the best of the best are until I walk alongside them and have that kind of knowledge. Don't go off the top rope. You don't need no frog splash. I'll tell you that right now. But I'd love to see down the road, man, something with Matt Riddle. You know, I'd love this. I think there's plenty of stuff there that when your wrestling is more than ready, or whenever the NXT tryout is to come and do that, it's going to be undeniable, because as Rip Rogers would say, you want to be over prepared when the opportunity arises. And I think you're more than over prepared verbally, charismatically, obviously in-ring skills, and now the wrestling psychology to make it look as much of a shoot as possible without being able to let the guy perform the next night as well. So all roads lead to success, man. And you're right there on the precipice of so many of them, where when you show that you don't need the pro wrestling, that's when the bigger opportunities usually come. So you just keep doing what you're doing, man. And I don't know, Al Bundy, I think he's got 20 years on me. That's why I picked him, even though he's a badass. I think I was just trying to think who's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy that I could manhandle at the celebrity tournament, have you in my corner. So, but RVD, CBD, horseshoegenetics.com, and obviously Hamin Media Group, being represented by Bulletproof, Blake Troop, you guys at High Rollers. Go at them on subscribe to High Rollers on YouTube and see more awesome action. Go back and watch this entire show, you guys, if you're a fan of mixed martial arts and you want to see guys smoking down and then beating each other down. That's the place to be for sure. So hopefully I can get out there, see one live, man, and be there as well. Who knows, maybe me and Stefan Bonner on the mic putting you over as well, dude. So where can we send them, Troop, to keep them locked into everything you got going on?
So y'all can head over to bulletprooftroop.com, pick yourself up some swag. I got some new merch dropping soon. Or you can find me at Bulletproof Troop on Instagram, at Big Troop 22 on Twitter. Give me a follow. I'm trying to build my Twitter up a little bit. I ain't really been using it, but I'm starting to now. You can find me facebook.com/Bulletproof Trooper, or Snapchat, Big Troop 22. It's either Bulletproof Troop or Big Troop 22. So tune in. Find me one place or the other. I already mentioned it once, but go to bulletprooftroop.com and pick yourself up some merch, baby. Stay tuned. I got a whole bunch more things coming up. I'll be in Cleveland on the 13th of May, Detroit on the 14th, Milwaukee on the 15th with my boys Control Your Narrative. If you haven't tuned in, you can find us at the Pro Wrestling TV app, available on Roku, in your Apple Store, all over the place. We've gotten a bunch of heat online from a bunch of people who have never even seen any of our product. But I'll tell you right now, we are bringing fantastic fundamental wrestling back with good psychology. So tune in, check it out. Blake Bulletproof Troop, known for dropping warheads on people's foreheads, locked, cocked, and ready to rock. Lights out.
Y'all, Hamin Media Group special 420 bonus edition. Smoke them if you got them, infidels.